So I focused on intraperitoneal ovarian cancer and intraperitoneal therapy in ovarian cancer, and I think that's the one place where intraperitoneal therapy has now been established, that giving the drugs directly into the abdomen where the tumor is yields a therapeutic advantage. And the gynecology group is the one, they led 3 separate studies, and all of them showed the same result, which intraperitoneal administration of cisplatin together with the other drugs did better than intravenous administration of cisplatin. So in the last treatment, and that's why everybody is focusing on the last trial that was published in 2006. I believe that's when it ended. We've had a long hiatus. But in that one trial, the control group of the intravenous treatment had a median survival of 49 months versus the control group in the intraperitoneal treatment, which was 65 months. So big difference. And but it came at a very heavy price of toxicity. So, and it's not mysterious why that toxicity. In this particular study, they had added intraperitoneal paclitaxel that made it more toxic because there were 2, every cycle consisted of day 1 and day 8 intraperitoneal drug administration, because they gave also intraperitoneal paclitaxel. So not only did they have a lot more interventions than the other arm, but also they had the intraperitoneal administration that gave more neuropathy. So there were a lot of abdominal complications, a lot of abdominal pain, a lot more neuropathy, and then all the toxicities from the high dose of cisplatin. So, not surprised, intraperitoneal therapy, in spite of that great advantage, and in spite of a National Cancer Institute clinical alert to tell people, look, this is a great therapeutic advance, it just was not being done because of the toxicity issues that it raised. Yeah, and as I say, it's not mysterious, so I said, what are the questions in intraperitoneal therapy? That was the title of my talk. One is, do we have the right dose of cisplatin? And no, I think we need to go down on the dose. I mean, we've known that 100 milligrams per meter squared per cycle is over the top. We know that. You get too many toxic hits, and it's not convincing that you don't achieve the same, at least intravenously. You achieve the same if you give half the amount for twice as many cycles. You get exactly the same result. That study was done years and years ago. In the intraperitoneal route, yeah, we wanted to prove that it works, so we gave the maximum dose. But we know that for the surface cells, even if you give the half dose, you're still giving a lot more, in theory, to the surface cells than you would by the intravenous route. And in fact, that's probably has to be taken into account the end results. There were a lot of dose modifications, but nevertheless, even though you modify the doses, if you start off too high, you're going to have a lot of toxicities to account for. So that was the first question. The second question, do you need to give the intraperitoneal paclitaxel? And I don't think so. It's one trial. It showed exactly the same thing as the other 2 trials, which they did not have intraperitoneal paclitaxel. So I think there's too many toxicity issues. You don't have to give it. And then the third question is who benefits from it. And it appears that women where that have BRCA mutations or silencing are the ones who benefit, because it's all a question of platinum sensitivity. The ones that have the BRCA silencing are much more sensitive to platinum, and so platinum intraperitoneally could, in fact, get rid of a lot more disease more efficiently. And there was an analysis done of an ancillary study, that's what I presented, very briefly looking at immunohistochemistry of the BRCA gene, and if it was low, they were more sensitive. And so those were the questions. They're the ones who benefit. So we'll have, and then the other question was, and what's the role of the anti-angiogenic agent, bevacizumab, because now it's in every one of the trials. So does that make a difference? Well, we won't tell from the current trial that has just about completed. It's going to complete in a week. We just heard today, accrual with 1,200 women enrolled. There we can't tell because all three arms get bevacizumab. It's going to be again an intravenous versus intraperitoneal comparison. One arm is intravenous, carboplatin, paclitaxel. The other arm is intraperitoneal carboplatin with IV paclitaxel. And the third arm is IP cisplatin, but at a lower dose than in that particular, in the preceding study that I told you. And the intraperitoneal paclitaxel have kept it. So it's a modified regimen of the old trial that showed the median survival of 63 months, which was, or 65 months, which is the longest which we've ever had in these trials in ovarian cancer. So it suggests that it was a very good result, but it's not necessarily from the entire package. So this is a trial that is going to be exciting to know, but it's going to be 2 more years before we know.